22 goals, 5 red cards and 4 comebacks. The first of those comebacks in North London this morning. Spurs from 1 down to beat West Ham 4-1. Villa beating Fulham. Both of those sides are mainly with 10 men as well. Everton, big win for them, 2-0 at Ipswich. Manchester United were 1 down to Brentford at half-time, but won it by 2 goals to 1. Brighton winning away at Newcastle. Danny Welbeck's rich vein of form continue. But the biggest comeback of the day, and what we thought was the biggest shock of the day until the game we've just seen, Southampton 2-0 up at home to Leicester, who won it in the 98th minute through Jordan Ayew to make it 3-2. Don't forget, of course, the champions, Manchester City at Wolves tomorrow, and then we bring you Liverpool, Chelsea from Anfield, and the Monday night football is Crystal Palace's trip to Nottingham Forest. So, Bournemouth nudged their way into the top half of the table up to 11 points, level with Fulham, just a point off Newcastle. Arsenal stay on 17. They have missed the opportunity to go to the top of the Premier League table for the first time this season before both Manchester City and Liverpool play on Sunday. Villa in 4th and Brighton have nudged their way into the top 5. At the bottom, another dismal day for Southampton, who are still without that first win of the season, just 1 point. Wolves, of course, will try and add to their total tomorrow, as will Palace on Monday, and Ipswich after that defeat to Everton, now 4 points behind Sean.
That is the first real major setback of the season. The first major incident happened after 27 minutes. Before then, it was 11v11, of course. What did you make of Arsenal at that point?
I want to achieve things. And I think it's refreshing to see that, yes, they're going to be disappointed, of course they are, but like Declan is, for me, he's grown into the stature at Arsenal where they want to see him being the captain, the leader, and you could just see that in his interview there. You can see how disappointed he is, clearly, but look, it's one of those where it's really fascinating to see, and it's, you've got to give credit to him to coming out and actually being speaking.
Do you see that, Jamie, as a positive, rather than finger-pointing at anybody else, to actually, as I said, take ownership of a mistake?
Because I think we have managers sometimes, they come out and they insult football fans, football people's intelligence by saying things that aren't the actual facts. If you go through it, this is my opinion, Declan Rice, when you've been booked, you don't get involved. Trossard, you've been booked, you commit another foul, it's a red card. Today, that's a red card. So you can't keep making these mistakes. And I don't think it's all right to come out and say, well, we're being, everyone's against us. No, they're not. Stop making individual mistakes. If you've got 10 men, don't kick the ball away. If you've been booked, don't kick the ball away. All these factors make the difference. I thought it was a refreshing interview. It's a really, of course, it's a bad result. Is it damaging? Is it going to really harm their title-winning credentials? I don't yet believe so. I think this is going to be one of those seasons. We're not going to see 99 points like we did a long time ago with Liverpool, Man City. There's going to be a lot of mistakes this year. Teams are going to drop points. There's teams that have got match winners in it, like Bournemouth, that are going to take a lot of points off teams. This is going to be one of those seasons where they're just going to have to hang in there, dust off their wounds, get Saka back, get Odegaard back as quickly as possible. And I don't think this is one that's going to be really, long-term, that you'll go back, oh, that was the moment they lost the league. I still think they're still yet to find their flow, but I still wouldn't write Arsenal off just yet.
Might have to respond next week against Liverpool, live on Supersonic without...
And no Saliba.
Without Saliba, of course. What about the thoughts of Mikel Arteta? Does he echo those of Declan Rice? Here he is with Natalie Jedra.
Kel, tough evening today. What are your thoughts on the performance given the circumstances of the game?
Yeah, very disappointed with the result. Obviously, we came here to win the game, and that's the way we prepare it. But again, it's tough enough to play against this opponent at home, and we knew that especially the first few minutes were going to be very intense with high tempo or man-to-man situations. We had to cope with that. We started to get certain momentum in the game and more control, better understanding. After 30 minutes, you get down to 10 men. You have to play 67, 68 minutes in this league again with 10 men. That's an accident waiting to happen. And we tried very hard. We tried very smartly as well in many moments. We had the biggest chance in the game with Martinelli. And with 0-0, you put that on, game on, and big chance to win it. In the other end, we concede a goal, and then obviously it's very difficult. So it's a game of errors. Tonight we made 2 big ones that has cost us a game, and it's the 3rd time we're playing the games with 10 men, and at this level it's very complicated.
Yeah, Declan mentioned silly mistakes as well here to us. is it the more frustrating part of tonight? It was kind of a self-inflicted loss, you feel?
Yeah, as well. Credit to Bournemouth as well. But obviously, when you understand that the opponent is being better and they've done something different, or you didn't reach your level, but today, yeah, there's 2 mistakes. But again, they're a part of football, you know, and it's not the moment to put the finger into nobody because their attitude is excellent and they really won and they really try. And it's been tough mentally as well to play for those long periods in this league in these conditions. But today, unfortunately, we paid the price.
The red card was given for denial of goal-scoring opportunities. So how did you feel about that?
Well, the decision has been made. It was made on the pitch, then it was changed on the pitch, and certainly now they're not going to change it. So, decision made.
But do you agree with the decision?
Decision made.
And the penalty?
I haven't seen the penalty back.
So, of course, we can't expect Arsenal to keep getting points playing with 10. But what do you feel didn't go your way tonight that did go your way in both previous occasions when you were down with one man?
Well, it was a different context because we were on top. We were winning the game. And that's very different. Today we had to win it. And we changed certain things in the second half and we were much better. And we had many more situations and actions in the final third. And we had the biggest chance. And with 10 men, you're going to have 2-3 situations, no more. And we didn't capitalize on that. And then we got punished when we had to be.
Thank you, Mikel.
Thank you.
It's pretty calm, isn't he, Mikel Arteta? I think you do well to find a manager in the Premier League who stands there in an interview when he's been beaten and he's had a player sent off by virtue of VAR to say, oh, yeah, great decision, really pleased about that.
Yeah. I mean, what's interesting as well, the red cards, when you lose a big factor like a centre-back, for instance, the red card, it's a big chunk out of the team because that is generally the core of the whole organisation of the setup when it comes down to 10 men. If you get sent off like a Declan Rice and Trossard, yeah, it looks a little bit different. But yeah, again, open and honest about certain situations, about the silly mistakes, because Man City won't do these silly mistakes.
Do you think almost there's been a bit of a line in the sand? Declan Rice made reference to a conversation they'd had in the dressing room straight after the game. We have to stop making these errors if we're going to win the title.
And as well, it's the same message, you know, given now, seeing it, the players will just say, look, we need to respond in the same way. We all need to be in that same sort of mindset again and not be like Mikel was saying there, pointing fingers at people, because as soon as you get that in the dressing room, it disrupts everything. So I think Mikel will keep the steady ship because they've always been like that. And like you say, Jamie, it's a result, it's one result, but there's plenty of games still for Arsenal to win this league with, like you say, the amount of points. They ain't going to be like this year. That's for sure.
Well, 89 was last year's tally. That can they get over that 90 threshold to really challenge and put pressure on Manchester City? Declan Rice referenced this really tough month, or a big month ahead for Arsenal before the final international break of 2024. Liverpool at home next Sunday. Then they go to Newcastle United, and then they go to Stamford Bridge before the break as well. Do you feel, Jamie, that we will know a lot more about Arsenal and their title credentials when we get to November the 11th?
Yeah, I still think they're going to be right in the equation. They've got too many good players, got good players to come back. They are, of course, they're hard fixtures, but if you're in good form, you're licking your lips at those fixtures thinking, great, you know, let's go everywhere we can win, we're confident. But the most important one is that one on the 27th of October. You're going to be out without William Saliba, your best defender. That's going to be a game where you're going to have to really dig in, show character, and make sure you get something out of that game. Because Liverpool are going to be looking at it now, and they're right in the equation as well. You have to think about it. They're the best three teams at the moment: Liverpool, Manchester City, and Arsenal. I would have three that I wouldn't have put Liverpool at the start of the year because with a new manager and everything, and the changes that they've made. But they've had an excellent start to the season, and it shows you nobody's going to be perfect this year. You know, Rodri's not going to be playing for Manchester City. That is a massive leveller to everybody else. So they've just got to maintain a bit of calm. It's not going to be easy, and just make sure they can get back to winning ways as quickly as possible.
Find some positives for Arsenal. Odegaard, we heard from Mikel Arteta yesterday, expect him to be playing before the next international break. I don't know if next week is going to come too soon, but the power that might give Arsenal by beating Liverpool at home.
I was saying, but these games, any player asks them to get them up for these games is no problem at all. I mean, of course, the Champions League's the next one in the sort of market, and it's a reaction they want. they're not used to losing, particularly away from home. They've gone on such a long run now. This is the other side of Arsenal what we're going to see, and see if they've actually learned something different that they're going to be.
And can a bloody nose sometimes actually drive you forward?
Oh, without a question, yeah, absolutely. Because, like I say, it's one of those where they don't want to have that feeling again. So they're not going to make these silly mistakes again now, because they clearly said it to each other in that dressing room now, and they shared it with us. They will not be doing it again. I'll be very surprised if you're seeing players get sent off like that again.
Just throwing it forward to Sunday, you think in terms of that back four, we think he'll go Gabriel or maybe Calafiori as a left-sided centre-back?
I would probably move Calafiori in. The fact I'll be worried about Salah's pace, particularly because Calafiori is not the fastest, shall we just say. And look, it's one of those, he might bring in the experience of Zinchenko maybe just to sort of steady. We need probably a bit more talker for this sort of game, who knows this sort of fixtures are really important. So look, Mikel knows, the best team, but look, it's one of those where they need to really get a result. That's for sure.
Like you say, though, if you go, Zinchenko had a lot of problems against Salah last year in this fixture, so you have to make sure whoever plays left back, it's going to just that one player not playing disrupts everything.
Could do
it makes
Timber.
It so difficult.
Could do Timber getting back, but like I say, it's one of those. They need players to get back sooner rather than later.
Good. There are still 90 points to play for, of course, but you just wonder, with the fine margins of Manchester City, how this may affect Arsenal.
You never know with City and with Liverpool too, because those teams are mashing, and they win games every single time. So it's going to be very, very difficult. It's a long way, to win the Premier League, but you know that every single point is very important if you want to win the Premier League, especially against City. They have been a monster for years now.
And obviously it's the way they respond. They've got a Champions League game in the week, but Liverpool to come without William Saliba now.
Well, is it only one game?
Yes. But it's some game to miss.
I hope they will get back more players. I don't know about Odegaard and Saka. I think he will be there, but we have seen what happened, 2 years ago when they lost Saliba the last few games of the season, and they killed their help, to win the Premier League. So every single player who play in the first team, the spine of the team, are so important for Arsenal. Do they have the option, to change? I'm not sure about a few players.
Part of that spine is Declan Rice. Here he is with some Arsenal reaction.
Declan, was it one of those days where things just didn't go Arsenal's way?
Yeah, look, I think they're showing the torrents that we had now on the TV just before they went up the other end and scored. Look, I think the matter of the fact is we've kicked ourselves in the foot 3 times now this season in 8 games, and we've got away with it twice, at home to Brighton, away to City. But not all the time luck can go your way. And, in the end tonight, Bournemouth kept probing and, they won 2-0. So, look, I'm proud of us as a group of players because to keep fighting and believing that we do, believe that we can win even with 10 men. I thought we played really well even with 10 men. But the naivety of it is that we've got to stop making mistakes. Because we won 11 players for 90 minutes and that wins you football matches. So that's the way I'm seeing it today.
Yeah, you mentioned the red card, of course. And during the season, you faced this problem other times. Of course, we can't expect Arsenal to always get a point every time you get a player sent off. But what do you think you couldn't replicate tonight that you could do on the previous 2 occasions?
To be honest with you, I think with 10 men, we showed a lot of character and personality to stay in the game. Like I said, the big chance was the one we had, Martinelli's chance, which... Listen, the keeper's made a great save. He's read Martinelli's shot, and they go up the other end, and I think they get a corner from that a minute later, and a routine that usually we're so strong at has done us. So, look, I think there's no regrets tonight, other than the fact that we can't keep making silly mistakes, especially if you want to compete and be at the top at the end of the season. You need your best players on the pitch at all times, and it then gives the other players a mountain to climb as well when you're down to 10 men. But look, the belief in a group of these players is still so high. We've just spoken there as a group. Such a big month coming up. So look, we'll stick together. This is football. This is what happens. It's a roller coaster game. It's an up and down journey, and it's never going to be perfect. But the most important thing is that we stick together and we stay in the right direction.
Thank you, Declan.
Thank you.
And 3 red cards already in 8 games.
Well, it's hard to see that coming, but for me, when you look at the red card, I think, especially the one today, I think there is no question about that. I think Saliba deserves to be sent off. definitely. So on top of it, when you play 10 against 11 and you give so many mistakes like this, you know, you offer the victory to your opponent, so there is no hope to win that game.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I think when you allude to Arsenal's 3 red cards this season when they've not won the game, I think that's the first real one that's been forced upon them. The Rice one in the Brighton game and the Trossard one in the City game. They were really naive, stupid mistakes. This one was actually forced upon them. Yeah. I'm sure they've had a sit down in there and they've had a frank moment. And this afternoon, this night at Bournemouth, where after an international break they'll have wanted to gather some momentum for what is a huge month ahead, it might be positive in the long run because they won't let their mentality slip again. They'll have been honest with each other, they'll have been open with each other, and I'm sure a few words have been exchanged in there, but they won't want to feel like that again this season.
And when their mentality has been questioned, they've always had the answers, haven't they?
Yeah, well, I think he will find a few things to say to his players tomorrow morning, you know. I think, as I said, I can't remember the last time I've seen Arsenal playing so badly, you know, all together, making so many mistakes like that, you know, average mistakes, you know, that cost huge damages, you know. So Arteta knows that he doesn't have time, you know, because he plays early, you know, in Champions League, so they're going to play every single 3 days. At the moment, if I am Arteta, I will think about those players who are injured, you know, like Saka and Odegaard, because they definitely need them, you know.
Yeah, to go to Liverpool without Saka, Odegaard and Saliba would be a big ask at this moment in time.
Yeah, it would be a really big ask, but I wouldn't judge this Arsenal squad on tonight. I feel as though they've showed us enough over the last 2 years under Mikel Arteta. This will be a blip. They will bounce back from this. They've showed strength in character before, and tonight I think they'll want to sweep away as quickly as possible. And the good thing is that there's a game coming up pretty soon.
Games like this happens once per year, you know, when you play for the title. You know that 1 game or 2 games per season, you know, you're gonna miss it. You don't know why. Maybe because you're tired, because you're not concentrate, you miss the unity, things like this. You know that. But when you look at the schedules, it's a bad timing, honestly. When you look at the coming feature, you know, it's Chelsea, Liverpool, and Newcastle. Those clubs are fighting for the same position, and so it's a very, 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 very bad timing, you know.
I think one man that kind of supposedly got away with it, because we haven't spoken about it much tonight, who was very under par for me, and it's probably one of his worst moments in Arsenal shirt, is Raya. And it was just like really silly little mistakes, like he kicks it and he spams it out of play, his passing was bad, he just wasn't quite at it. And don't get me wrong, he made some big saves when needed. It wasn't a terrible, it was just a little bit of a sloppy performance, something that I've not really seen from him in Arsenal.
And is that all it takes sometimes? Just this one player
just
slightly
be a
dropping
knock-on
to filter through a team?
I think they were all together the same level today, yeah. I think they look really tired physically and mentally from the start of the game, you know. They look sloppy, the rhythm of the game, you know, the passing, the aggressivity, the pressure on the opponent as well. I didn't see, you know, the quality from the Arsenal squad, you know, they used to bring on the pitch for years now.
And do the opposition sense that sometimes? Do you think Bournemouth, like you said, never get a better chance to beat more to Arsenal, and they sense that?
Yeah, I think they'll sense that looking at the team sheet, but they still know it's a big night. And then I think they'll sense that during the game, they'll have thought, do you know what, these aren't quite at it tonight. This could be our night. And do you know what, they played perfectly. I thought Iriola's tactics were superb tonight.
OK, let's get the reaction then of the Arsenal manager. Here he is, Mikel Arteta.
I mean, this is a problem, isn't it? Every game you've finished with 11 men, you've won. The 3 you haven't.
It's very difficult to win the Premier League with 10 men. The game is even coming here against the team is very difficult. We knew that from the beginning, so the task to do it with 10 men for 67, 68 minutes, it's just an accident waiting to happen. We have to go through it 3 times in 8 games, and today cost us the game. It cost us the game because on top of that we made 2 big mistakes, which are part of football, and we had the biggest chance and the biggest moment in the game with 10 men to score and have a very different result. In the other end, we conceded a goal.
Obviously, the 3 red cards that you've suffered this season are all very different incidents, but where does the responsibility lie? Is there anything you as a coach can try and do to reduce this happening?
Yeah, for sure we try and stick to the rules. As you said, they've been 3 very different ones, 3 very different outcomes as well in other games. But that's it. Today is what happened. The team tried. I mean, the effort, the understanding, and the approach with 10 men again. It was fantastic because I know how hard it is to do it. But today wasn't enough to win the game.
Often after an international break, it can be a little bit difficult. There was rhythm, but not perhaps as much tempo as you might have liked. I'm talking about when it was 11-11 in the first 30 minutes or so. Yeah. Is that, do you think, down to the international break where that just interrupts your routine?
I think it was a lot of tempo, too much tempo, and as well a game that they want to play, especially the way they play the first 15-20 minutes at home. And it took us a while to understand what we have to do without much happening in the team. After 15-20 minutes, we started to grab the game much better and start to be in positions and in territory that we really wanted. But after 30 minutes, obviously, the game changes, and that's 2/3 of the game at least.
Thank you, Mikel.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Since he was appointed, that is 18 red cards for Arsenal. That's more than any other team. They're their next 6 fixtures, as Manu was alluding to: Liverpool, Newcastle, Chelsea, Inter Milan as well, in there as well. Accident waiting to happen, he said today, Manu.
Well, I remember back in days when we won the Premier League as well, we had so many red cards as well, so...
It's not always a bad thing, sometimes aggressive ones, but I think this season there have been soft ones, needless ones, whereas if it's a challenge, if it's a goal clearance with arms, something like that, something needed, then it's a little bit more forgivable, but these ones aren't.
OK, gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for your company on a day when Arsenal had the opportunity to end the day as Premier League leaders for the first time this season. Bournemouth had other ideas, just their second ever win over Arsenal, and they'll enjoy it. See you soon.
So, still at 0-0, Arsenal a player down. We're going to the second half. They hadn't had a shot on target in the first half for the first time in over a year. Could they fashion a chance? Could they fashion something? Make a substitution. They get Martinelli onto the pitch. A massive moment, potentially in the season, Theo, isn't it?
I mean, this is the side of Martinelli where we always feel he could improve these opportunities, which he practiced endlessly. And for me, he gives the goalkeeper very clear where he's going to go straight away. He opens up his body too soon. I think where it is there, I think Alan definitely said it on comms, where it was the near post was the finish. It gives, of course, it's a great save, but look, this is Arsenal. They want to win the league. Yeah. It's a massive moment for not just Arsenal, but for Martinelli himself.
So you think almost when you're, because I've seen you score plenty like that, Theo, almost show him the eyes.
Oh, absolutely.
Whip it into that near corner.
You don't have to overthink it. I think at times Martinelli, when he has a bit more time on the ball, he actually overthinks it instead of actually doing something with instinct. Yeah. And I think that's probably his downfall at times with his goal-scoring record at the moment.
And isn't this just typical of football? There's that big moment at one end. You can call it a Martinelli miss or a brilliant save from Kepa either way. Less than 2 minutes later, down the other end, Bournemouth get themselves the lead from beautifully worked.
Love this.
Against the set-piece
I love
as well.
set-piece goals are so important. It's a brilliant work to goal. The goal scorer, obviously there, Ryan Christie, Cook, the corner taker, Kluivert, the 3 important players. Kirkes, who you can't actually see, hopefully I'm pointing at, you might just be able to see him here. He's creeping into view. And what Ryan Christie is actually saying there is that he wants Martinelli to be dragged, if possible, just this way a little bit, because... Oh, that's not worked very well. Excuse me. Sorry about that one. There we go. Take that off. There's a corridor here. This corridor which you're trying to get on. Kluivert now, he's got a little bit of opposite movement, what I would call. He's trying to drag Gabriel, and then he's got, I think that's Havertz there at the front. So this has to be perfectly weighted. You can see as he's going to play this one along the ground, then Kluivert's going to make a bit of movement and get a really soft, subtle touch into that area. Let's just slow it down. You can see Kluivert there, number 19. He's going to come alive now. Here he goes. Bang. Timing's perfect. And then you can see Christie, that little soft touch. And then Christie, can he finish it? Absolutely. What a finish that is. It's a difficult one. It's bouncing up. You've got to cover that ball really well.
That
but a fantastic finish.
The touch is key, but I've been in this position before where Martinelli is, right? And for me, you want to encourage the ball out to this player here, to the left back here, because Arsenal's so strong when it comes centrally with distance. And his body position as well is wrong completely. He needs to open up so he can clearly see both players. Because this sort of like tunnel here, there needs to be a lot more communication. There's none of that. And he gets... Everything about this Martinelli, for me, is wrong. His whole body movement, he stands still, he's flat-footed, everything. He has no idea what to do.
Not a great couple of minutes then.
He hasn't. Sally, but it's a fantastic finish because as well, when you notice the finish, it just bubbles up, doesn't it?
No,
Slightly.
it's so good. I get amazed by this. I still cannot figure it out. I speak to a lot of coaches and ask why. We saw one today with people who watched the goals later on, Southampton. Why people don't mark the edge of the box.
And what do they say to you?
They say because when they look at the stats, not enough goals are scored from there. So they would rather protect what I would call this area. I find it ridiculous because you've got now more teams are going to look at this as ways to get a free man a shot at the edge of the box. Southampton scored one earlier on. It was terrible defending from, and Leicester have got Ayew stood. He's 12 yards out, no one even marking him because you're so programmed to do what you have to do now. Instead of going right, if this ball comes out to him, we're going to be in a really bad situation. What I like about it is sub, and sub. The 3 subs that have come on. I know we're going to talk to Ryan Christie now. I hope
He's listening right now. He's listening right now.
Okay.
Show the strike.
Ryan,
show the strike.
Ryan, let's have a look at this finish, mate. With that lovely left foot of yours.
He wants to see it.
Look at this.
Bang.
Brilliant.
Talk us through it, mate.
Fantastic. We've got an even better angle.
Oh, hold on. Stop. Here we go.
Just admire that.
Ryan, how about that? What a smile.
Thank you very much, guys.
Doesn't get much better than that, does it?
No, obviously delighted to score. It's been a while, to be honest. So I was due one. Obviously nice for the team when it's from a work set piece. Obviously, like you guys were saying there, the subs involved coming on and knowing their job. Credit to Sean Cooper who does our set pieces, and delighted for him that one of them eventually came off, and luckily enough it was me on the end of it.
So when you come on as sub, right, I know you've obviously had a good season, you've started so many games. When did you realise that this was going to be an opportunity? Obviously, Kluivert's come on with you to do that and have the, obviously the technique and the ability and the presence of mind. When did you decide that was going to be the corner we were going to do?
I think the boys have spoken about it at half-time, and then obviously it was about trying to transfer that onto the subs when we came on and try and get everybody in the right position. It's a brilliant touch around the corner from Justin. I don't know how I'm on the end of it and not him, to be honest, but I'm not complaining.
And you were trying to, obviously, you're very animated because you were trying to get Kirkies just to take Martinelli out of the way. That was a real key, just to open that corridor for you.
Yeah, that's it. To be fair to Milos, normally doesn't listen to me, but this time he does. So, like I said, a lot of kind of moving cogs. So credit to everyone for it to come off.
We'll show you again. I mean, you're not going to get bored of watching this, I'm sure, Ryan. I think it's your first in a couple of years, isn't it, in the Premier League? Just the trueness of the strike from you as well, from a bobbling ball.
Yeah, a few boys trying to claim it was straight off my shin guard, but I'm not having that. So, listen, happy enough. Like I said, as soon as Justin got the flick right, I think try and keep it down as much as I can with the bobbling ball. And then, to obviously to get the second goal from the penalty, kind of calmed us down a bit and let's kind of control the game and see it out.
Right, I know, look, I can't get bored of looking at this as well, but are these the sort of off the training ground where you're like, right, who's got the best finish? If someone has a go, they're the main taker, and then it skies over the bar. Are you that player that was like, look, it's going to be coming down to me?
I wish I was, Theo, to be honest. Normally I'm right down the pecking order.
Really? Not anymore?
But to be fair, not anymore. I'll be the first one putting my hand up next game, I think. But like I said, credit to Coops on the bench when we were making the subs. He said I was the one coming onto it. To be fair, I think I was the only left-footed player on the field at that point. So, like I say, delighted to get a goal. Hopefully I can add a few more between now and the end of the season. But more importantly, 3 points against a very good Arsenal team.
Well, absolutely. Enjoy the moment, though, Ryan, and the personal adulation. I think you're going to be a marked man on set pieces from now on. I just want to ask you about the general feeling within the group, because we can talk about, how impressive this was from your team tonight, the importance of that victory, but in that dressing room, what does it mean to beat Arsenal?
Yeah, obviously, listen, a massive victory. We want to fancy ourselves no matter who comes here when we're playing at home. We want to kind of take the game to them. Obviously, the red card's a massive turning point in the game and probably gives us a bit of a foothold. But yeah, obviously after the frustrating defeat to Leicester before the international break, we've got a tough run of fixtures. So amazing way to start. Obviously another tough game away to Villa next week, but a brilliant game to take quite a lot of confidence to moving forward.
You've said it yourself, Ryan, the red card was a major moment in this football match. What was the chatter on the bench when it happened?
To be honest, I didn't have a great view of it. I've not seen it back. I don't know if it's yeah, well trained. All I see is kind of bouncing ball. It looked like Eva was straight through on goal. As soon as the referee kind of goes to the screen, I think we're used to the decision kind of getting overturned. And like I said, playing against 10 men, Arsenal are good, but it gives you a foothold. And to be fair to the boys, up until half time and just after, we did well to kind of keep our patience. Didn't go crazy, kept feeding the wide players, trying to keep Arsenal in their half as much as we can, and eventually broke the deadlock, which was nice.
Congratulations, Ryan. Great goal, great victory, great 3 points. Thanks for talking to us.
Well done, Ryan.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Well done, mate.
Lovely moment for Ryan Christie as well, a player who's been such a good servant for Bournemouth and as he said himself, hasn't been on the score sheet too much of late. He said himself, though, the second goal really calmed them down. But again, it comes from a difficult moment from Jakub Kiwior, who had actually come on because of the red card.
And again, it's like we were saying before, Jamie, the mistakes that were just endlessly happening throughout the game. It started from minute 1. But yeah, Kiwior will be really disappointed with this going home. Of course he will, but look, it's one of those where it's really important now the team to be around him, because it's the moment a player that's not a regular starter, and these are the sort of players you need to look after at times in big situations like this. And it's a penalty. Look, I think
not a red card because it was in the area. Just to clarify that,
I think he wanted to try and score. I think he really did.
But he wasn't on pens after missing one against Chelsea. But a really good.
But he was involved in the game, wasn't he, Evan Nielsen?
Yeah, this is a big penalty, big moment, very calm. He goes for the sort of Ivan Toney approach, doesn't look at the ball. This is great technique. Waits for the goalkeeper to sit down and just calls it.
Because you can see Christie there, hands on head. He's desperate for that to go in, and there you go.
Yeah, this is it. Look, it's such a hard technique. I said to Theo, would you like doing this? Look, he doesn't look at the ball. Very similar to Ivan Toney. Good technique.
Fantastic.
Theo, is this the springboard that their season needed? We said at the start it has been a bit of a mixed beginning for Bournemouth. Those 2 wins, one very, very late against Everton, one at home against Southampton when they'd really be expected to win. So to get this scalp under their belt.
Absolutely. We could beat in title contenders. Like Ryan was just saying there, the Vitality Stadium all of a sudden now is going to be some sort of a difficult place for not just Arsenal to come, but every sort of team that's challenging, like Man City. They're going to want to get results and have that feeling again. And they feel like they can beat the best, because Arsenal have proven that over the years, but are title contenders. And I think, Bournemouth, it's a very tight, compact stadium. The fans are always with the team, and this result itself will just bring the sort of positive energy throughout the whole, not just the stadium, but the whole place. Bournemouth is a great place to live, right? Yeah. So look, it's one of these places where, people enjoy playing their football, and I'm getting a sense that the players are now starting to enjoy this sort of new way of playing.